Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. I'm watching a squirrel eat. I had a dream last night that was a little... I'm gonna do it partially as a dream vlog. I don't remember much of it. I'm trying to remember the bits and pieces of it that I do remember now. Like, there was a vibe to it of, like... trying to find the right path forward, I guess. Though not really. It's not just that. Oh, I see the kitty cat. Hello. Can't really remember because there's too much going on, so hold on, please. It was also something to do with, like, having the right materials to move forward, or to, like, go forward in a specific way, and, like, find the right, little hallways or whatever to pass, and something about Mom. Yeah, that's about all that I really remember. But it is nice and chilly out. It's actually chilly. Like, it's in the 50s, if not low 60s. Right now in the morning, which is like unheard. It's August. It's fall. We're not. It's gonna go back up to being like 70 in the. Today is another cooler day in the 70s for the high, but like I'm gonna be back up into the 80s, no problem. Starting like tomorrow. Today is therapy day. I'm trying to think of things. So like we have therapy every week, and like. The hard part is that we are basically still doing therapy. Because we're still doing therapy weekly just because, like, our therapist is very good at like, meeting us where we're at, which is great. But I also very, very much I miss Dr. A. I miss being challenged so much. Like, M asks all the right questions. She does ask great questions. She does not challenge our beliefs as much as Dr. A did. It did not sit there and turn around. Like, and it's not that I think it's not a bad thing that she doesn't do this. Honestly, it's interesting, the difference, because Dr. A was a white cishet male. And he was old, like a decade or so older than us. Emily is younger, and she definitely knows way more about dissociative disorders than Dr. A ever did, and he wasn't willing to learn. He was willing to listen to us, he was willing to sit with us, and he was willing, to meet us where we were at, in terms of, like, what we were experiencing and how we were experiencing it. He was very good for that, but he wasn't a Trumper. He hated Trump. Disliked Trump and everything that he stood for, honestly. But he was very much Republican coded. Definitely way more free market than we ever were. And we would sometimes get in those political discussions. And I think that's one of the reasons why I miss him, is that it's an election year. And I would love to hear his take on Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and everything about Biden. I just would. Because I imagine that, like, he can't stand Trump. Probably still, either he didn't vote, or, he's pinched his nose and voted for Trump anyway, because that sort of thing. Like, who knows? I don't actually know how he voted in 2020. Though at the time, we were seeing him as a therapist, and then quit very shortly after that. But No, it's just, I just miss the discussions of why we felt that, like, things like universal healthcare was a thing we argued about. And not argue, but, like, it was a thought exercise for him. And the thing is that it was comforting to speak to somebody who did not agree with my views, who did not immediately go, well, this person must be stupid if they believe that this is even possible to do, etc. But instead, they're actually intelligent and would love to hear the argument in terms of why this would work and how it would work and why we should have it. And if it weren't for that man, are you that Manning, Dr. A? Holy shit. The man is married, it doesn't matter either way. And everyone already figured that one out, Casper. Anyway. I miss him. In a strange way. He was our therapist for 10 years. At least. Roughly. We started seeing him as a therapist in 2012. I saw him mostly on up until 2021. Did not see him again for a while. Then 8 months later turned around and went, oh yeah, we need to actually go back to therapy because we're about to lose it. And the reason why we quit, that we fired you in the first place, was because we realized that we had AID, and we know that you're agnostic toward this disorder. That you don't necessarily believe that it exists, but you don't necessarily believe it doesn't exist either. It's just, you think for the most part it's something else going on within the brain, within the mental health. Which is interesting. If we could afford therapy across 2 different therapists, I probably would ask if we could start seeing him again, like once a month or something like that, just because I liked having a different perspective on seeing the side of the political spectrum that believes differently, that isn't quite consumed by Trumpism, like more conservative side of things. And I can't quite argue with Janina in the same way about things, even though she very much is more on the conservative side of things as well. And I would like to, but she's a boomer, so, there's this whole thing of politeness and not discussing these things like ardently, etc., with one another, and that's hard to break. It's not that we don't. I would love to hear her perspective on things is that she just backs off immediately the moment that either myself or Casper gets heated, because it doesn't take much to get him heated, that Irish temper and everything. But he's like, I heard that. I can't do his accent when I'm doing mine. Hilariously, half the time I get stuck in his. But I don't know. I can't remember exactly what we were looking for in that dream. But it had something to do with Mom. And, like, her misunderstanding us as people. And also us being like, no, we don't care if you're mad at us. Like, that sort of thing. And, like, it's valid for you to be mad at us. We just up and abandoned you. But we didn't. We explained to her what was happening. We explained to her why we needed to go no contact for a moment. That moment ended up being at least a year. But it's more that I just simply did not want to end up being her caretaker in the end. Not because I don't feel that she deserves it, she does. She does deserve to have somebody to take care of her and her husband. And make sure that they are as healthy as they can be for two disabled adults in their 60s. Like, physically disabled. Her husband can walk with a cane fairly well. Like, he can get around slow going, but not... She can't. She could. She can't. Part of it is that she's just letting herself waste away, and she's doing it out of spite, and it can be out of spite if she wants it to be. I'm not gonna stop her. I'm like, look how much I've deteriorated in the year that you have not been taking care of me. Oh, sorry. I can't be at your every beck and call. I am in the middle of my own mental health crisis, and at this present point in time, I may be out of that particular hole, but that does not mean that I am in the same financial position I was a year ago. Well, a year before that. I don't have a car. I don't have a means to go to them. I don't have... Not readily. That doesn't cost extra money. Our budget is incredibly tight. We have to make $750 and that's it. Work in a month. And thankfully we don't have to pay rent, but we would like to return to paying rent. We would like to pay Janina back for everything that she's given us, honestly. Like, she and her husband, who had sadly passed away in 2018. That was the same year that we broke up with Sarah and Company. Yes, it was. Huh. I never realized. No wonder that year was so rough for us. It was just... 2018 was a year. 17 was bad, but I think 2018 was one of those, like... 17 was setting you up. 18 was the actual, like, collapse. Yeah. Either way. These squirrels are fat. Look at them. Look how chunky you are. They're enjoying the food. I should go have breakfast. I know that we're supposed to write. We're trying to do 1,000 words a day for essentially until the end of the year. It doesn't matter of what. Everything that we write is stuff that heals us in some way, shape, or form. It's stuff as long as we share it and feel comfortable sharing it. Jeez. Then, as much as they are our writing partner when they are ready to be a writing partner again, they're not a writing partner right now. And that sucks. But it is a relationship, like a side of our relationship that I need to let go for now. I know at some point it'll come back. That we'll return to, like, share this stuff and everything. But Stephen is right. We found a new writing partner for now. And it's because we're back to exploring things like our sexuality and kinks and how problematic is what makes stories interesting is not necessarily... And, like, yes, you can have fluff. That's, adorable fluff for however long if you want. Well, there's still going to be conflict. And people growing from them being problematic is just as vital to see. Because everything online now is purity culture, and that's not sustainable. And nothing is pure because human beings can't be. Nothing is pure. Even the squirrels aren't pure. They're just different. We don't know what the problematic behavior is, because we're not squirrels. That sort of thing. I hear the crows in the background. I don't know if you can hear them over the video, they're so far away. But they've been loud all morning. It's one of the reasons why we're awake. Because we woke up at like 6:50. We'll go back to sleep and then immediately picked up us. Like an idiot. But breakfast time it is, I think.